Okay, well, got up today and was looking around on YouTube, the internet, and that. And I guess on top of everything else, um, I found out that the ATF has changed the Form 4473. For those of you that don't know what that is, when you go to a store and buy a firearm, be it a shotgun or pistol or whatever, that form that an FFL dealer makes you fill out. Now, I've filled out a lot of them over the years because I collect guns. Uh, and I have bought a lot of guns. Uh, this form came into existence when they changed the gun laws back in 1968. Okay, and dealers had to be federally licensed. Prior to that, if you went and bought guns, federally, if you went and bought some guns, you could just buy them, take them to a gun show and sell them. Okay, I mean, some 22s didn't even have serial numbers on them. All right, back in the old days. But that's changed. Anyone who's purchased a gun, especially recently, you've seen the form. Now, the early forms were pretty basic. I'm talking 40 years ago. All right. They made a change a few years prior because they found that people, because some states have more restrictive laws than others and some states don't, people were going and buying these guns and either transporting them to another place or state or buying them for people who cannot purchase a firearm, okay, or didn't want their name associated with any paperwork on purchasing a firearm. So they added another question. The top of the questions after you fill out name, address, and all that other fun stuff, they ask you, are you the actual purchaser of this firearm? And yes, did I buy the gun for myself? Yes, I did. Okay, and you check yes, and then basically the rest of them were no. They've changed this form again, and I have not called the guy I know that's an FFL dealer. I'm going to call him later today, but from what I've seen on there, they made some weird changes, okay? I think there's 10 points, there's several videos where the guys show you, and I'm going to try to give you a screenshot of what I'm talking about here in a minute. Most of this stuff, some of it doesn't pertain to me. Okay, one thing is, at the bottom, the certification, you have to state your age. If you're under 21, they have to do a more intensive background check. And there is some sort of waiting period if you're under 21 or something. I'm not 21, I'm not under 21, so all of this is meaningless to me. And also, if they did an extensive background check on me, I do not have any sealed records. I have no criminal record whatsoever. Okay? So, to me, all of this extra stuff is meaningless. Okay? Another thing kind of meaningless is up at the top. It asks you, when they changed it the last time, now at the top you list the firearm, this and that, manufacturer, importer, all this other stuff. There's something in there about, is this a homemade gun, or has this gun been, manufactured by an individual? In other words, not a factory gun, okay? It'd be your polymer 80s or your 80% completed into a firearm. Now, different states have different laws about this, okay, but this is a federal one. So they ask you that, and that's where the FFL, like when I was talking about 80% embraces, now the FFL has to put a serial number on this weapon if it came into his possession, if it's into his store or whatever. Which is kind of weird because in actuality, if you make a gun, you're not supposed to sell it. Okay, part of the rule is that, if I make a gun for myself, I can keep it, I can't sell it, can't give it away, can't leave it in a will. Okay, that's what the law states. But I guess people turn them into pawn shops or whatever, and knowing guns, it would be pretty easy for me to spot a gun that was built from a kit okay? And I really would not purchase one from anybody for any reason, all right? You know, like a polymer 80 or something. If I wanted a polymer 80, I'd build my own. I'm not going to buy one from someone, okay, with no serial numbers or nothing on it. So that's the change there. But again, that doesn't affect me. Okay, so the age thing, the homemade gun thing, okay, doesn't matter. But where they did make changes, and a lot of people state this, I'll put a couple links to some of the videos I watch where these guys break this down. There's actually three sections that would pertain to me. And I'll try to pull them up and go over them right now. Okay, the first added thing here in the red, do you reside in the city limits? Yes, no, unknown. For me, this is an issue because I live in a city where part of it is in one county, and where my development and stuff is considered in the city of, you know, my mailing address and that is of the one city. But this is in another county, and the center of town is out there somewhere. So I don't know, and if I call the police, it's the sheriff from the other county where this city is located in that will come to my address. So for me, this is something that trips me up, and I've looked online for a half hour and I cannot find if my address is within the city limits. So I don't know for sure. Okay, I know there's a sign up on road, so I'm going to have to say, answering this, I don't know. But am I lying or just don't know on the form? This is something that can be problematic. It is for me. I have to find out what the hell the right answer is before I get the ATF up my ass. Now let's go down to the question area. Okay, and like I said, this question here, 21A, are you the actual transferee buyer of the firearm? That was added a few years ago, and you know, you always answer yes. I'm buying the gun, it's for me. I'm not buying it or picking it up for someone else. So if you check yes to that, but you are doing that, that is a felony. Now the new ones that come in, here's the first one. Do you intend to purchase or acquire any firearm listed on this form or any continuation sheets or ammunition? Okay, they've never mentioned ammunition before. For sale or other disposition to any person described in question 21C. Okay? Or to a person described in 21N who does not fall within a non-immigrant alien exception. I guess this says, are you intending to buy the gun and give it to someone or sell it to someone who is not qualified or could not fill this out legally, is a illegal alien, or I guess if you're an alien, if you're a foreigner here on there's some kind of restrictions on this, you know. So again, no, I'm not. But it's worded on there. It's kind of confusing. And let's go down to the one below it. All right, now they have another question. Do you intend to sell, otherwise dispose of any firearm listed on this form, continuation, or ammunition? Again, they mention in furtherance of any felony or other punishable by imprisonment for a term of more than 1 year, a federal crime of terrorism, or drug trafficking. The way it's worded is confusing and doesn't make any sense. But I guess the question is, am I buying this gun to supply it to terrorists or people who are convicted felons who cannot own a firearm? I guess that's what the question means. Or ammunition. See, this is the weird thing. They're adding ammunition into this. So, again, you know, how this would screw you up the way this is worded. a lot of people say that if you belong to a political organization or something, you're considered a terrorist. So my neighbor might belong to something that is listed, as a terrorist organization, be it the Proud Boys or God knows what anymore, okay, however they define it. But I can legally, in the future, say 2 years down the road, I want to sell a handgun, like this one here that I just bought. Say, okay, 2, 3, I'm tired of this gun, I want to sell it. I sell it to a guy and, basically, if I'm not selling to a dealer, I pretty much know the people that I'm selling to if I decide to sell. And I don't like selling to strangers or people I don't know, because you don't know if they're a felon. And I'll go over the rules of private selling a gun in my state, okay, after this. But, the thing is, terrorist, that's a broad definition, okay, or a drug trafficking offense. You could live next door to people or know people that you work with or something, know them for years, and they could be drug traffickers. Who knows? But see, now it's given more room that if this gun ever leaves your possession, are you going to get burned? Alright, now this one here, this is another added thing in here on the bottom of these forms. I believe it used to say, all my answers in section B are correct, and I understand, read the notices. And it goes over asking, it kind of like reiterates if you said yes or no to, if you answer the question one way, and it explains this here. Answered yes to question 21B. I understand that a person who answers yes to any of the questions 21B through 21M is prohibited from receiving or possessing a firearm. I understand that a person who answers yes 21N1 is being that's the immigration status, is prohibited from owning a firearm. I also understand that making any false oral or written statements or exhibiting or any false or misrepresented identification with respect to this transaction is a crime punishable as a felony under federal law and may also violate state and local law. I further understand that the repetitive purchase, now this is the key sentence. I further understand that the repetitive purchase of firearms for the purpose of resale to predominantly earn a profit without a federal firearms license is a violation of federal law. Now, this here, it's kind of like saying I like to buy and sell cars, all right? But do I need to have a car dealer's license? I mean, a lot of people have done that. A gun is, your private property, as like with anything else. And now, okay, they're telling me that if I buy firearms and for the purpose of reselling, okay, to earn a profit, well, I buy antique guns. Sometimes I buy them at a auction or something, and I have a collection, and when I upgrade my collection and get a better example, I like to sell the firearm. Okay, so now they're saying that if I'm selling these guns for profit, okay, that I'm breaking a federal law. All right, and I don't kind of understand how they can prove this. I mean, I'm not, I guess this is intended if you buy, because like when I did purchase this firearm, okay, I could have checked 2 or 3 and bought them. And then if I'm buying them and then going and selling them for a profit, yeah, I can see that, but that's not what I'm doing, okay? But the way this is worded, if you want to sell any guns you're tired of, you can be tripped up on this law. It's how they look at it and interpret it. Okay. So this is a little scary here. Okay, these are the things that more or less pertain to me and got me nervous. The thing about the age, like I said, or the gun without serial numbers or homemade guns, that to me is irregardless. I'm not going to deal with that, so whatever restrictions they put there, okay. And like I said, I'm not under 21. So I guess now there's a federal restriction whenever this ruling or whatever the hell is passed, to where these people have to go through a waiting period, wait longer, have a deeper background check. I guess that's going to go on there. So, and like I said, they can run all the background checks on me. I have no criminal record. Okay. So, and then each state has different rulings and that. Like, I'm trying to figure out about New York State, the ammunition thing. And I'm not quite sure, and I was trying to look at the law, and I guess there's some weird stuff they interact. First of all, in New York State, if you have an AR-15 or an AK-47 or anything deemed as an assault rifle, high-capacity magazines, after a certain date you had to go and register this with the state as a special thing. There is a law in there that any ammunition for these guns, which would be 5.56 and 7.62 by 39, there is some sort of strange law up there somewhere that you can only buy 60 rounds of ammo for these said guns, and these are targeted guns. I guess 30-06 or 30-30, you can buy more than 60 rounds every 4 months or something ridiculous. And going to a couple forums and websites, I guess, see, New York, if you own a handgun, you must have a pistol permit. They are registered. You log them in. They know you have those guns, what guns, the serial numbers. You go to Walmart and you want to buy some 380 ammo or 9mm ammo, and you go in there, they can say, first you got to show an ID, a driver's license, which they record, and then you have to have the permit showing that there is a gun in that caliber, or the retailer will not sell it to you. That is store policy. Okay, I guess, because people were complaining about this. And one guy wanted to buy a box of 9mm. He says, I have a carbine. I don't have a pistol. And the person at the counter told them, we don't care. Without pistol ammo, must have verifiable proof that you have a registered gun in that caliber, or we won't sell you the ammo. So that's screwed up. Now, coming down here to North Carolina, okay? Say you have the issue, like me, I'm getting older. I have an extensive gun collection. Say, I have to sell some of my gun collection because of a medical emergency or financial hardship. Okay, does this preclude that if I start selling my guns off, say I took 5 of them and I want to sell them, am I violating this law? Am I committing a felony by selling guns for profit or not? I mean, you see, this is weird. Now, let's say I bought a handgun and I want to sell it in my state legally. How do you go about doing that? Well, in my state, there's nothing about selling a gun. You're not breaking a law for selling a firearm. Okay? What you have to do, which is required by state law, is I have to fill out a form, a bill of sale. And basically, I print them offline. Basically, it's a sheet of paper. I make 2 copies. And what it does, it asks my name, address, driver's license number. Okay? In this state, to buy a handgun, because of the Brady law, there's 2 ways of doing it. One, you have to go to the sheriff's office, and basically you pay them $5, and they run a background check on you and come back and give you a document called a pistol purchasing permit. Okay? This is your background check. So when you go to the dealer, and buy a handgun. This does not apply to shotguns, rifles, or anything like that. When you go to buy a handgun, you got to bring that paper. They fill the form out and they attach that paper to this form. Okay. Now, the other thing you can do is if you have a concealed carry permit. A valid concealed carry permit in my state is considered an instant background check. So like when I go to the store, I give them my driver's license, my concealed carry permit, irregardless what I'm buying, rifle, shotgun, pistol. They ain't got to call, they ain't got to phone it in, they just fill it out and they put on this form under the dealer section, they do put my driver's license and they put the concealed carry permit number as a background check. So, for me to privately sell a firearm, I fill this form out and I print one down that it states there you put the gun to make the caliber, serial number, all this stuff. And at the bottom of that, where I sign it, it's a statement that says, I verify that I am the owner of this gun and it is not stolen. Okay? Second half of the form, the guy buying it fills out name, address, driver's license number, and he must provide me either with that document, that little concealed carry or the pistol purchasing permit, or he puts his concealed carry number on the form. And I make 2 copies of this. We both sign it. I give one to the guy that is buying the gun from me, and he knows who I am, that it's not, and I signed it, that it's not stolen. Okay? So if somebody runs the numbers, the gun's stolen, it comes back to me. On the other hand, with him, I have to keep, now, the state law states that I must keep this document for the rest of my life. It's exactly what it says. I must possess this document, store it, put it somewhere, as long as I'm still alive with this recorded. Be it his concealed carry license or that little piece of paper has to be stapled to it. I got some in there somewhere. Which, that's the legal way of doing it. Period. Okay? If you do not request a background check from somebody and you sell them a handgun, you are violating a state law here. Okay, so know your local laws. So, and every state is different. Okay, but the key is the wording of this, and like people explain in these videos, the wording in addition to this is just giving them more of an opportunity for you to make a mistake or to answer the question wrong, like, right there, am I in the city limits or not? I'm not sure. Okay, but if I put, yes I am and I'm not, or no I'm not and I am, then it's falsifying a federal document. Okay? And like everyone says, over the years you buy and sell guns all the time. Now is this telling me that I cannot sell my guns? Okay? Or the intent, purpose? See, the wording in that is very broad, very nondescript. Like I said, I have a collection. Say I become terminally ill. Okay, and I wish to sell off my collection. Okay, you could go to an auction house, I guess, or something like that. But say there are people that I know that know me, know the guns I have, and friends of mine, and would gladly help me out by buying them from me, as long as we keep it legal. Is this a violation of that statement there? See, this is where it's screwed up. And yes, for those of you, before you start putting in the comments, I am violating my thing of saying I'm not making a YouTube video anymore, but I'm doing it because I have to get the word out, and I want to discuss this because it's pretty important. So yeah, I'm going to put it on YouTube where people can see it. you know, and it will automatically be bounced over to my other two platforms. But this has to get out because, and what it is just getting its gun control. They can't change the law, and you know when you look at how there's a lot of things wrong globally, and really on YouTube I can't say it out loud, but there's a big conflict going on in several places, and our government doesn't look good. Okay, in all of this on a global thing. And one thing that we haven't done is all of these different countries that have totally outlawed private ownership of firearms, we're falling behind. We are not doing it. Actually, the exact opposite is happening. These past 10 years, I believe more firearms have been sold in the whole history of the country. Okay? So, how can you outlaw something where your citizens have such a demand? Okay, that's what's getting me. And this stands in the way of a global takeover of the whole world, or a global government. The fact that they have not banned private ownership of firearms in this country. And, you know, a lot of people brought it up. The damn politicians, okay, they're just the mouthpieces and the little pawns. Yeah, some of them are probably trying to do what they're supposed to do. It's the only reason why we don't have a complete ban of firearms. But the pressure is so great from those that are not in the government that are controlling things that they have to do some sort of sneaky backhanded shit, okay, because they're not obeying their masters, which is not us, the citizens. It's this other realm of people who have money, influence, and power. Okay, so this is where we're under attack, and this current administration is pushing the limits. They're ratcheting up this shit. So be warned, be alert, and be careful out there. Okay? Thank you.